The NBA is officially back, and the first game, of course, was a rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals, the Lakers and the Nuggets, and it's all over. The Nuggets once again beat the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers, they just can't beat the Nuggets to save their life. 119-107. Obviously, this was the ring ceremony. The banner went up. It was a cool moment, but obviously, the season is officially going on now. So let's go ahead and get straight into our reaction to this game. Obviously, I'm going to pass it up to you, G. What was your initial reaction to the Nuggets beating the Lakers pretty much once again?
I'm not very surprised. I mean, this is the sixth straight time the Nuggets have beaten the Lakers, and I just think the Lakers didn't make enough moves in the offseason to really make me believe any differently that this game would go any different, because what major changes have the Lakers really made? I mean, their three best players that played this game are still the three best players that played last season in the playoffs. Like, nothing really changed because most people were banking on one fact, and that was, it's the same copium people have at the start of every season. It's almost like a ritual that Lakers fans do before the season start. That, look, AD is gonna take a step. That AD is gonna take some of the load off LeBron. Look, that's dead. It's not 2020 anymore. It's just something that people have to give up on because this is what AD does. Because look, he starts the game out great, brilliant, 17 points in the first half. You're like, oh my God, AD's cooking. Like, he's doing good, and obviously AD is always a defensive force. But what does AD do? I mean, you just think of what can AD do? Go out in the second half and not score a point. That's just what he does. It's what he's prone to do now, because that's just what AD does. If people want to call him always disappointing, A Disney, whatever you want to call him. I don't know what's really going on with that. I don't know if it's a mental thing, because it's been like this for 3 years and it hasn't changed. So I didn't really think anything was going to be different. I don't know how Lakers fans, I know if me is the delirium that they think that it's going to be different this time, even though the Nuggets have kicked their ass 6 times. I mean, the Nuggets have undoubtedly head and shoulders the best player in basketball. I mean, Nikola Jokic makes this shit look easy. Like, I've just never seen a guy that's played the game so easy. I look down at the stat sheet, and it's like, oh, he casually has a triple double, a 30-point triple double. It's like, how does this guy do this? And it's so fluent, so efficient. I mean, he's above 65. I think he's close to 70% efficiency on all his shots. I mean, fucking hell. What can this guy not do other than, like, maybe play a little defense? I mean, this is the only knock in his game, because offensively, he does everything. And he's the point guard for this team, basically. I mean, as the center, he's the greatest passing center of all time. I mean, what can this guy not do? And then you look at the guys that he has around him. The Nuggets still have they have a lot of that core that still won them a championship. I think the main player I'm thinking at the top of my head that left was
Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown, which he played dividends last season. But look, they got guys like Conwell Pope that could do it. Obviously, they have Jamal Murray, and obviously they have Michael Porter Jr. These guys that can go get you double-digit points. And you look at all their starting five, they're all in double digits. They had 3 players with above 20 points. I mean, that's going to win you a lot of games. And not to mention that Jamal Murray is just one of the clutchest guys. When you need a bucket in a tight spot, he's the guy you want with the ball. He's just that good. And that combination with Jokic, it's quite literally Shaq Kobe-esque. I mean, it's big man guard. It's about as good as it gets. It's the closest thing we've had to that. So I'm not necessarily surprised. I think the Nuggets should be the favorites to win it all back to back, because, I mean, I just look at that. There's no one that could stop that guy. A lot of people want to talk about the Boston Celtics or right now the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the only people I would be fearful of is maybe the Bucks, but the Nuggets just have that guy that I think no one can guard Jokic. That's just what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But as far as the Lakers, before I pass it off to you, I mean, same old Lakers. Like, they're not championship contenders. I mean, if people want to put them in the contenders, I mean, we got to redefine what contender means then, because they're just not that. This team is not as great as people wanted. They had a nice little fairy tale run last year, where it's like, oh my God, they looked like they weren't going to make the playoffs at all. Then they made moves, and look, they made a little splash. But when it comes down to the brass, maybe they'll give them a chance against the Suns, possibly, because we don't know how that looks yet. But against the Nuggets, we've just seen too much of tape. There's too much on tape to know that what's going to happen when they play every single time.
Yeah. I mean, look, I agree with a lot of what you said. For me, there's really only one talking point here. It's game 1. So I'm not going to sit up here and say that the Lakers are not contenders or anything like that after game one. You know, they're 0-1. I mean, last season they started out 2-10. I'm not gonna sit here and make crazy conclusions after game one and say the Lakers it's over. Might as well pack it up. The season's over. It's all over. I'm not gonna say that. But what I am gonna say is that Anthony Davis is already in midseason form. Always disappointing. After that first half, I'm saying, okay, maybe all this talk about AD having a really good season. He's talking about he wants to play the majority of the games, at least 70 games. Yeah, he's saying he wants to play a majority of the games. And then Reggie Miller is on there on the TV saying, oh, he's going to have an MVP caliber season. And you see that first half and you're saying, you know what? Maybe he's right. Maybe he is. Maybe he has turned a corner. But then I see him in the second half. And he wasn't even out there. He was a ghost out there. I mean, 0 for 6 from the field, 0 points in the second half. That's unacceptable. I mean, ultimately, this Lakers team is relying on year 21, 38 years old, turning 39, LeBron James, to lead this team to a championship. It's not going to happen. Darvin Ham in the post-game press conference is saying that, yeah, the new norm for LeBron and the Lakers this season is that LeBron is going to play 29 minutes per game. Blood, he has to play all 48 for this Lakers team to realistically have a chance to beat a team like the Nuggets or the Suns or the best of the best. Because this Lakers team, yes, I do like some of the moves they made. Taurean Prince had a fantastic debut. He played fantastic. I mean, he was lethal from the three-point line. It's something like most shooters, they get to the Lakers and they forget how to shoot. It's only been one game, but this guy looks like he might actually have.
Don't want to speak too soon here.
He has kept his shooting prowess, But I mean, look. You look at this Lakers, fold of what they got. Yes, they made some moves. They brought in Cam Reddish. They brought in Gabe Vincent. And obviously they brought in Prince. But this is basically a lot of the same core. And you need AD to take a step up and say, you know what? I'm going to have an MVP caliber season if the Lakers are actually going to be true contenders. And based on what I'm seeing in game one, in the first half, it looked like it. But in the second half, it wasn't. So to me, this just tells me that it's going to be another up and down, inconsistent season for AD. I hope he doesn't get injured, of course. But I mean, it's just Mr. Inconsistent, and he has to find some consistency if the Lakers are actually going to go through, and with this plan of playing LeBron less minutes throughout the season. Ultimately, I think when push comes to shove, when we get to the latter end of the season, when it starts to matter around playoff time, there's no way they're going to be playing LeBron 29 minutes in the playoffs. You just have to imagine there's no way that's the case. I mean, LeBron is already saying he wants to be out there playing all the minutes. But I'm just saying if this is their plan, if LeBron's playing 29 minutes a game, this Lakers team genuinely, they might be back in the play-in. This team is not that good. LeBron has to be out there. I mean, I saw the statistic that the Lakers were minus 14 when LeBron was off the court compared to plus 7 when he was on the court. That's how big of an impact this guy has at year 21, at 38 years old. He is still a top 10 player in the league. I mean, no doubt about it. You could make the argument for top 5. That's how good LeBron still is. And obviously, we know he's old. He's going to be load managing a little bit because he is old.
He takes a little bit too many threes,
But this Lakers team is still built around him. He's the second best player on this team, probably the first best player on this team. I mean, he's the best, has to be the best player on this team. I mean, based on the way AD's playing, but they're built around him as to where he needs to be the second guy. AD needs to step up, and based on this first game, it just looks like that's not going to happen. So, these other pieces, I mean, Reeves had a decent game. I honestly, you want to see a little bit more out of him. I thought offensively didn't quite do as much as I would have hoped. Taurean Prince had a great game, but then, I mean, D'Angelo Russell, what did you even do in the offseason? What did you even do? First of all, how is Gabe Vincent not starting over D'Lo? I just don't understand. Like, this guy must have some kind of, thing on Darvin Ham where he's saying, I'm going to leak this to the media if you don't start me. I don't know what kind of thing he has on him, but there's just no way you're starting D'Lo over Gabe Vincent because, I mean, D'Lo, he just takes the stupidest shots. I mean, it's just like, why are we playing D'Lo iso ball? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? Like, he's a bench player. He's a guy, yes, he can score. He can make an impact, but he's no way he can be your starting point guard. There's just no way. He's not good. He's just not good enough. He's not a facilitator. He's trying to be a scorer. And when he tries to shoot, I mean, he's just not efficient at all. I mean, he played 36 minutes. He played the most minutes out of anyone on the Lakers, and he had 11 points. You know what I mean? It's just this Lakers team, they're decent. But to me, this team does not scream title contenders. I still think, this Nuggets team is above and beyond them. I still think the Nuggets team, like you said, are the favorites to repeat because, yes, they lost Bruce Brown, but they kept a large majority of that core. They have the best player in the league in Nikola Jokic. They have Jamal Murray, who we saw, how good he can be, especially when it comes down to crunch time. He
I
is
think
just an elite scorer. I mean,
I
some of these
think they're
shots he
still the
makes,
best 1-2 punch in the league. Still over. I mean, we haven't seen it yet. Really, Dame or I mean, Freak Time. We haven't seen that yet, but
we haven't seen how
I think it's
Bradley Beal's
still,
going to mix in, but
yeah. But we've seen what
Devin
these
Booker
guys
and
can do
KD, that's
already.
a good 1-2 punch. But this Jokic Jamal Murray punch, I mean, it's very good as well.
Just Jokic is unguardable. Because I mean, I'm watching this game. I'm trying to think that who could guard Jokic 1-on-1? Nobody. I mean, you could put Joel Embiid on it, and maybe
AD's a good defender, and
AD's a good
he
defender.
still had his
But
way.
even AD looks small compared to Jokic. I mean, he makes him look small.
Yeah.
And
his
but
passes, I mean, Jokic's passes are just crazy. Some of these passes, look, you know what? If I'm Sean Payton, I'm calling Jokic to say, you know what? We need a
you wanna play
quarterback.
quarterback?
Russell Wilson ain't it.
Quarterback?
Jokic might be the best quarterback in Denver, and that's saying something.
He might very much
I mean,
well
we
be.
talked about it while we were watching the game. I mean, Jokic might be giving John Elway a run for his money.
Yeah, I know we mentioned that in, like, greatest athlete in Denver sports history. I mean, look, it's close with that, but it's just it's that pure fact that he's so good at passing to where you could trap Jokic, but even if you trap him, because that's what you do against great players, like great guards. Usually, you see that they get trapped, and you put them in a tough spot where they have to pass the ball to a difficult spot. Jokic can make all those. There's not a single pass that he can't make. And it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's one of those helpless things. I mean, shit. I had to watch it in the finals against my Miami Heat. There's nothing we could do. I mean, I watch Bam's a great defender, but he's just nothing you can do. There's quite literally nothing you can do. Yeah. And that's just how great they are. But yeah, I mean, I agree with. I think they're going to start what they know D'Lo's going to start, but eventually it should be 100% Gabe Vincent. I mean, we saw what Gabe Vincent was doing on that playoff run for Miami. I mean, he was averaging 20 plus points per game. Yeah. Mostly with Jimmy, their main scoring option. I mean, Gabe Vincent he's fucking brilliant. I really miss him. I wish they kept him instead of going on these pipe dreams of Dame and Bradley Beal. But it is what it is. He's a Laker, and I think he's going to be very important for if the Lakers want to be where they want to be. I mean, I think
play a bigger role.
Yeah, I think the Lakers ceiling to me is maybe a 4 seed, which they're going to need, to be very good, because obviously the West is always stacked. I mean, there's so many killers in the West, so you're going to have to be, everybody's going to have to be clicking to be able to be a higher seed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if the Lakers can, if they kind of play like this, and LeBron is not going to be playing that many minutes, because I mean, it seems like, every time you look on the TV, LeBron's on the bench. I mean, yeah, he played 29 minutes, but he was on the bench a lot.
When the Nuggets made their runs is when LeBron's
on the bench.
I mean, when they got it back to a close single-digit game in the fourth quarter, LeBron comes off, AD comes on, and then soon the Nuggets go on a 7-point run, and it's just already out of reach there. It's over from there. Point. But to give the benefit of the doubt, obviously it is against the Nuggets. Next game's not very much easier. They play the Suns next game, so that might not be the greatest. But I think you look at it, they play. After that, they play the Kings. That's another tough game. I mean, I don't think that had a very good record against the Kings last season. But then look, you get the Magic. You get the Magic basically almost 2 times, because you play the Clippers in between it. But other than that, it's not that bad. It's still a pretty tough schedule, but there's a couple games in there to where, like, for example, where we're talking about AD's inconsistency, I can see AD playing good against the Suns because it's Nurkic. Like, if you don't play good against when Nurkic is guarding you, bro, I think we have a problem here. I think we have to start cooking up some trades. I mean, so like that might, if you can't perform against the Nurkic,
you're playing against
Nurkic, about you as an MVP, you can't get by Nurkic, bro. I don't know what we're doing. And then, Lord have mercy, if you don't drop 30, 10, 15, and 5 against the Orlando Magic, dude, fucking hell, I don't know what to say, but obviously that's ahead, so you have to look at some type of bright sides here.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people did have question marks about, could Denver be as good as last season? Yes, they kept a lot of that core. They lost Bruce Brown. I think people did have their questions. Are they going to, have a little bit of a hangover? And it just seems like they picked up right where they left off. I mean, Jokic, basically, it just seems like he basically just carried right on where he was leaving off with the finals. I mean, Jamal Murray had a great game. But this supporting cast, you have to give credit to Mike Malone. I think it's not crazy to say he's the best coach in the league after, especially what we saw last season in the playoffs. Yes, there's a lot of great coaches. You still got Greg Popovich. You still got Coach Spo. But Malone is up there. He gets the best out of these players. Aaron Gordon is playing some of the best basketball he's played in his entire career. Aaron Gordon just looks confident out there. He's in a good situation, but he's making threes. Yeah. He is a defensive force. He's getting rebounds. 15, 7, and 5. that's pretty good. That's all they need. And then you got Michael
And he's a
Porter
defensive
Jr.
ace. I mean,
Yeah,
he always takes
yeah,
the strongest option on there, and he does well.
he does
And we
well.
even see Mike Malone. Sometimes we question when he calls timeouts. When he did call timeouts in that fourth quarter to stop a Lakers run, they immediately come out and
Yeah,
he creates a great
yep,
shot for Jamal Murray to hit a three, and then boom, the momentum's back.
yep.
He's a great coach. But the problem is in the league, there's so many great coaches. I
There
mean,
are. It's a lot of great
it's
coaches.
tough, but he's
Steve
up there,
Kerr.
100% up there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, this Nuggets team is going to be very, very difficult to beat, especially when you think about, a 7-game series. You got to beat this Nuggets team 4 times to beat them.
4 times.
You got to beat this Nuggets team 4 times. That's going to be very difficult to do for anybody. Obviously, we're about to see, Phoenix and how they're going to kind of play. Obviously, no Bradley Beal yet. But obviously, there's going to be some tough matchups for them, of course. But this Nuggets team, they have a very, very good chance to go back-to-back. But obviously, there's a lot of movement still to happen. I mean, we still don't know if James Harden's going to get traded. Obviously, become NBA trade deadline, there's going to be some more moves. That's why it's so early. So that's why I'm not going to sit up here and say I can definitively say, one team is a contender, one team isn't, because there's still so much to happen. There's injuries, there's going to be trades, but main takeaway from game 1 is that, Anthony Davis, you're not that guy. And obviously this Nuggets team, they're going to be very, very good this season. I do have my question marks now going forward about the Lakers, though. I have my question marks. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they do next game against Phoenix. And then I'll kind of after that, because, now that we can see, what the plan is, with LeBron and how they're kind of going to be leaning on AD, he's going to have to play better. It's quite simple as that. If this Lakers team wants to be even a top 4 seed, maybe even a play-in team, they're going to need AD to play better. I don't think he's going to be quite as bad, but the thing is with AD, he's inconsistent. And then God forbid he gets injured. We're banking on him being healthy.
Him or even LeBron. I mean, LeBron's about to turn 39. I mean, who's to say he doesn't pick a he has a little bit of an ankle thing. I mean, you lose LeBron. I mean, shit. You're completely out of the picture here.
I mean, if you lose either AD or LeBron, and you look at this Lakers roster, and I mean,
it's not great. It's not great.
It's not that good.
It's not deep enough. I mean, especially with there's players you got Christian Wood, and then you got like Rui Hachimura, but those players aren't going to take a next step. I mean, realistically, when I look at this Lakers roster, I look at more Austin Reeves as the player that's most likely to take a next step than AD. He's the next guy he has a better chance to take actual step up than AD, because Austin Reeves doesn't really have anything he doesn't have very much pressure. No one really looks that much into him. So I just think he has more of that, okay, I'll step up. If AD's not going to do it, I'll step up. Yeah. So, but I mean, obviously you don't really want to rely on Austin Reeves right now to be your second best player. You want AD, the guy you traded heaven and earth to bring to the Lakers. So
yeah. It's just unacceptable, though, what we saw tonight, 0 points in the second half. It's unacceptable if this Lakers team wants to be, what they're trying to be. It's just unacceptable. And ultimately, I don't think it's going to necessarily be the new norm per se, but you never quite know with AD. And it's just like, people are talking about MVP and all of that. And I mean, always disappointing. He strikes again. He's in midseason form.
Right. They changed the rules, man. You got to play a certain amount of games to even be considered for that. I mean, AD hasn't done that since 2020. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, I would give anything to have that 2020 bubble AD back. I mean,
no, that 2020 season for the Lakers, they were pretty good. I mean, they were the 2 or 1 seed. I forget which one they were a high.
That team was just very good. They had Dwight Howard. That team was very good.
Caldwell Pope.
Now he's on the Nuggets.
They had Kuzma. Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a pretty good team.
Yeah. I would give anything to have that AD back. But ever since then, it seems he's been on a decline.
Since he won the ring, he's checked out. He's already completed it.
But, ultimately, we're going to have to see going forward, what happens with this Lakers team. I think there's a lot of question marks now going forward. That's going to be the narrative, because obviously everyone's going to be talking about this Lakers performance, this Lakers team, especially now they play the Suns next. Everyone's going to be seeing, how is AD going to respond? How is this Lakers team going to respond? They start out 0-2. AD has another disappointing game. There's going to be a lot of talking points about that. So that's just going to be what the narrative is going forward. So we're going to have to go in and see how it plays out. But obviously, it's just a little bit of question marks in Lakerland right now. I wouldn't want to be, in that locker room right now. I think there'd be a little bit of animosity there.
I mean, somewhat, yeah, I would agree.
But, we're going to have to see how it plays out. And ultimately, we're back. The NBA season is back, so we're going to be back making the videos about it. I'm very interested to see how, Freak Time is going to play.
Freak.
How
love
Phoenix
that
is going
name.
to play. I'm interested to see how else is all going to play out. So you can expect some video with some content about that coming out. So I think, this was game 1. We're back. NBA is back. But I think
NBA.
without further ado, we can go to wrap up the video.
Let's get out of here.
So I'm Zach.
I'm G.
And we'll see y'all next time for another video on the channel. Peace.